and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to this session of Inspiring Conversation, still in Grundarfjörður on the Snæfellsnes Peninsula. And I just want to remind you why I'm doing this, because it's all about creating conversations that really matter. We are diving into ways to connect deeply, break down barriers, and build moments that inspire trust and growth. Whether it's with your team at work or in your everyday chats, we will bring more positivity, realness, and impact into every conversation. So, my guest today is, and the reason for why I was late, or we were late, is he started to talk about his career as a dancer. So, oh boy, you are going to be in for a treat. But he is this like he is the second in a row of French Canadian persons who are on my show, and his name is, and I hope I will not slaughter your name like I did for the last guest, Andre Paradis.
Hi, that was beautiful. Oui, but of course.
Yeah, but so it was not too French. So you are because you're French Canadian.
Yes,
Maybe I
yes.
was. It's funny, this thing about when you have to, like, because English is not my first language, and then if I took French, it would be number 10, because it's just I can't. After 5 years working as a waiter, I still can't say au revoir, because it's
Au
something like I
revoir. Au
can't.
revoir.
Yeah,
Well,
au
yeah.
revoir.
The French. It's interesting because language. I've studied language as well. Every language has a different placement in the mouth, right? So Russian and German and Yiddish is all right.
Yeah.
French has a little above that right there. There's a little roll like Andre Paradis.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
name. So there's a little roll, but it's not guttural. The Spanish roll is inside the mouth. Pedro, Pedro, it's in the tongue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And English is right in front of your face. This and that, and this. So there's different placement for different languages, and that's why people struggle because if you're used to this, you can't do this, right? And if you do so it's a very interesting thing that
Well,
to put language in different places in your mouth, in your neck.
Andre, I lived in for 8 years in Denmark, and they speak with a potato in the throat. So
See,
when
that's another obstacle in the mouth and throat.
yes, so welcome to this.
Thank you.
Welcome to the inspiring conversation. And boy, oh boy, have I been looking forward to this chat, because
Sweet.
looking at your, like, because you have a website, and you take your life up to date, or I think you do it like phase 1, phase 2, phase
Yep.
3, and before we went live, we were talking about phase 1, because I was just like, oh, you lucky, because
SOB.
you were in the presence of a goddess, which was Paula Abdul. So take us back. Like, give us something. Give me something about Andre Paradis.
With Paula?
No, well, not no. I
So
was
okay,
I was
so
going after that. I was maybe
right,
going
right,
up
right.
for.
And I know you like that part. You were a big fan too.
But no, just tell me about little brother. Like, why did you go dancing for, like, all the
Right.
celebrities you mentioned, and like how and then today you are, like, practicing getting the genders to understand each
Yeah,
other, talk
yeah,
together. Like,
yeah.
that is like 360 or 180
Yeah,
or
it's a novel. It's a novel. The story is a novel, but it started at the age of 5. I came to, before the age of 5, we don't have thoughts or logical thoughts enough. We have words, but not fully. So most of us I would call it come online at the age of 5, where you're thinking match. You could actually understand your thinking, your feelings. They come together. So
yeah.
this is typically when we get like conscious, like we see our reality, and we can actually think about it and have thoughts about the life the family that we're in, the life that we have, whatever. So at 5, for me, when I came on board, when I came aware, and I felt that my whole childhood, is I realized born I was born in the wrong family. I was not supposed to be with these people. Very strange, very very strange feeling. Like this, I don't belong here. I'm not supposed to be here. That was the message. Right. So that was kind of
Okay.
weird. Yeah, that was weird and terrifying. And what happened is, as that kind of reality kicked in, my internal radar kind of turned outwards, and I started watching human beings, watching people at the age of 5. In my family first, and in school, I was always the kid in the corner watching people, because I was fascinated. I became fascinated with the human condition, trying to understand my circumstances, but and then how different people, like at school, people, this is the stud, and this one's a geek, and this one's the brainiac, this one's a slut. Like how does that happen, right? Like, right? So and the more you watch people, the more it's fascinating. And I remember a 15-year-old in my class when I was 15 years old, skinny guy, always well dressed, not fancy, just well put together. He had like shaggy hair, and he would like sit in front of the class. He was always in the front of the class, so we all, looking forward. He's right there, and he would like kind of lean back and be chilled and cool, and he would like throw his hair back. He has straight hair. He would, and the girls would faint. Right? I'm like, how is that? He's 15 years old. He doesn't know anything. How come he's got swag? Where does that come from? Right? Anyway, so that was my brain. Like I would watch people and be fascinated, and the more you watch, the more fascinated. And so that was my go-to, and um, you became very in tune with energy and people's energy, so I could actually kind of, I s- we all have that ability, but mine practicing at 5 onwards, like I could feel people. I know what's going on
Yeah.
with them, but they don't have to say it. It's a little strange, but it's not. It's just energy. So um, at the age of 23, I started doing personal development workshops, because I had to. If I don't belong here, why am I here? So there was a lot of like confusion and trying to get my life together. Am I going to get my life together? Do I want to get my life together? Can I just get the hell out of here? Because I'm not, all that torturing stuff. Um, so, and what happened is, right, that was been personal development and transformational work since 23. But one of the first phase of my life, dancing, came because I went to a private high school slash college. The last 3 years, last year of high school and 2 years of college, it was private. And a girl came up to me. You had to sign up for classes like you do in college. The girl came up to me and said, "Oh my God, for physical education, PE, right? We had many options. It was fancy school, private school." And this girl that I knew from the other school, but didn't think she knew I existed. She was like, "Oh my God, I want to take ballroom for PE. Do you want to come with me? I need a partner. We need to sign as a couple." I'm like, "What? Ballroom for PE, right?" I was a swimmer. This is Canada. It's always cold. Just trying to get in the pool, ugh, in the
Yeah.
winter. So my first thing is I recognize her. She's this little cute little thing. Like talk about Paul Abdul side, like little squirt, right? Cute as hell. And I'm like, my first thought was, no, I don't have to change for PE. That's cool. And then I'm looking at her going, I'm gonna get to hold her in my arms. Are you kidding? Duh. So
Dude.
I was a yes. We signed up. A week later, we get to class, and was like my first discovery of some version of this. What I'm here to be, to do. Um, first first class ever. I'm 15 years old, 16 years old. I've never been in a dance class. I'm a dork. I'm invisible most of the time to most people. And I remember the teacher on my right. The first class, I'm holding her in my arms. We're doing the cha cha. I think. Yeah, we did the cha cha first. And whatever the teacher's showing us, I could just copy it. I would just copy it. It was like right there. I'm like, that's interesting. Like just do, oh, I just do it. Like it's like I knew it. Like I already knew it, which is impossible. I don't understand, but I could just copy it. So get this: in the span of 4 months, I go from invisible geek to star of the show. Because I ended up assisting the teacher in class because I could just help him, as a second hand. The teacher was a male, so be able to just teach the girls and teach the boys. All the girls were trying to dance with me because I'm the only one who could dance next to the teacher, like from 0 to 100 miles an hour in 4 months. We started performing in school. We started performing outside school. I did this for 3 years. We did productions and shows. We did the whole gamma of ballroom. It was so. But what was really pivotal about this is I think that first class, and you know this, right? Energetically, when you combine two energies, like singers are very aware of this. When you hit a note, they often like they cry. It moves like it's
Yeah,
like touching heaven. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So what happened to me is the combination of moving my body to music, the two vibrations come together, kind of lifted my spirit. I think I smiled for the first time in my life in that class. Like I was a depressed little miserable kid, and all of a sudden like this sort of this felt good. Like this lifted my spirit and changed the chemistry in my brain from like it made me smile. Brought me joy. So that became for 3 years all I wanted to do. I mean, private school. I don't care about science. I don't care about physics. I don't care about math. I just want to get to dance class. And now
uh-huh.
we have rehearsals on a regular basis. And to my parents' dismay, they're like, "What are you going to do? Dance for a living?"
Yep.
Right? Because, and sure enough,
Oh, yeah.
and so I took it from a snowbank in Quebec City all the way to Los Angeles. Michael Jackson, Prince, Paula Abdul, Julio Iglesias, and I traveled the world. I taught everywhere, a lot of Asia stuff. I choreographed a concert in Thailand for their top female pop star, which would be at the time my equivalent of Janet Jackson. So yeah, I kind of did made a career. That- my but that's honestly that's all I wanted to do. That's all. That's the only thing that gave me a reason to get up in the morning. It's the only thing that lifted my spirit from a guy who's not supposed to be here. So that's how this whole thing started. Phase one of my life.
It's funny when you were talking about this because you mentioned you were a swimmer in the beginning,
Mhm.
like you were a swimmer, and then she literally, well, luckily, she drags you into dancing.
Straight up.
It's like you're coming up from to the surface from the water. Like it's just
Well,
like a thing. I saw just
oh
pick like the Golden Girls. Like picture this.
yeah, yeah.
Andre just like re-entering the surface, and then you come out as a dancer.
Well, you know what's funny about this is like my idea of swimming was to sit at the bottom of the pool. I would sit at the
Oh
bottom of
my
the pool.
god!
That's where I wanted to be. Well, because down there is a different world. If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just scuba diving or anything like at the bottom of the ocean, at the bottom of the pool, because this was an Olympic sized swimming pool. It was a huge monster
Okay,
pool.
yeah,
So it
yeah,
was like
yeah.
15 feet of water, nice and warm, even though you're cold when you got out of it. And you would say, I would do a couple of laps, but what I would do, I was to blow the air out of my lungs and go sit at the bottom. And to me, it was like being an embiotic quiet. It was timeless. This is where this is the only place that I found peace at the bottom of the pool. So interesting that you say it came out of the water and joined the world. I kind of did. It was kind of exactly that. I never thought of it that way. Interesting.
Well, and now when you're explaining this, sitting on the bottom of a pool, and then you have the tranquility of everything, and then you go up, and then you enter stage, and just like boom, boom, that's
And
the transition, Andre.
that was, I've had like four pivotal moments in my life. Like if it didn't happen, my life would have been on a different track. This was the first one.
Yeah.
Like that girl remembering me, asking me at that moment that we're there at the same time to sign up for our classes. And I mean, that's like, so I have four of these that are giant that it just click, changed entire, like, my life entirely from one moment to the next. One
So
decision, one question. Yeah.
yeah. So there I go to phase two, where you opened a auto body shop.
Yes, sir.
Like you just go from the one extreme to another. Like
I, I
were
know
you
people,
asking? Were,
I know, I
were you
told
in
you.
Thailand and then you're just like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to open an auto body parts shop.
Hmm.
Did you do that?
So,
No, you did.
yeah,
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 you did.
I actually did.
No.
It was people used to trip and go, "You used to dance with Michael, and now you own this shop." And I go, "Uh huh."
Yeah.
So two things about that. I was, I have there's my brother. I have three brothers and a dad, obviously, and my dad and my brothers were all car crazy, car
Yeah.
crazy, car crazy, car crazy. Like we used to when I was little and right through my teen. Every year when the new models would come out for General Motors or Ford, would get in the car, all the boys, and go to the dealership and check out the new Cadillacs, check out the new Buicks, check out the Oldsmobile, the new model. Every year they change. So much so that I can tell you to this day when I see an 83 Cadillac or a 73 Cadillac or 71 Buick, like I we know all the names of all the cars because that's really what we did constantly. We're car
Hmm.
crazy and constantly up, in the so I never that's something that you get in your blood that you never get away from. I'm in Los Angeles, a lot of classic cars that are still around because the weather, the
Yeah.
climate, and they don't rust here. So a kid in the candy store, living here and watching these classics, go to car shows. So, but after life on the road, the business model with dancing is you perform, whether you're in town or out of town, right? You go from gig to gig, like musician. When you're in town, you teach. That's the business
Yeah.
model. We all do it. You perform, you travel, you come back, you teach. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, you get back on the road, right? So and this part is built into the business. Like the studios know that you're going to be taken off, and they love that you take off because when you've been dancing with Michael Jackson, you come back, the class is full. So
Oh, yeah,
everybody,
yeah, 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 yeah,
everybody
yeah,
wins. Everybody wins. So
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
there's a there's an encouraging you of being a performer as opposed to keeping you from leaving because that's actually anyway. So that's so as I'm in, I would. I'd been doing this for like 15 years, but we actually was midway. I'd been on the road for about a year and a half with another show. So completely like on the road for a year and a half almost, right? That's a different life. There's sex, drugs, and rock and roll, women everywhere, a few a night, like just the crazy life. And it was really fun, by the way. But I realized in that phase how traditional I was. I didn't think I was this traditional. I just pushed against every boundary, went against everything my parents tried to teach me with the Catholic crap. Right? Like I just like push against everything. But having a crazy life like this and having this madness going on, like just fun party, sex, drugs, um, I realized really quickly because I'm an athlete as a dancer that that's kind of not exactly smart. And the longer you're on the road, the more you kind of lose your finesse, your timing, right? You have to keep
Yeah.
training like a musician. You have to keep your rhythm and you have to be on the edge. If you're going to be a professional, so it's fine tuning. Anyway, so when I got off the road, I'm like, okay, I'm good, I'm done. And I actually started looking for the one. I was like 28 years old and I'd done all this madness, and I had a life before that even. And so I was just realized I'm kind of square and traditional, and I just like I want one girl. So I met my wife in class, part of the business model. She was a student.
Hmm.
Oops, oopsie. I
Yeah.
mean, what else? You know, every class is 40, beautiful young girls. So my radar was up looking, but dancers are not necessarily wife material. Just gonna say, you know what I mean? Until she walked in, and 2 minutes, 1, 2, 3, put a fork in me. I'm done. This is the girl. That was 30 years ago. So that's how it started.
Was that number two?
Well, what happened is because of her and finding her, and um, I was never going to get married. We started to get married. My idea, by the way, my idea. She never brought it up. It was me. Um, and then we're together for a few years because she's a prima ballerina. She's traveling the world doing ballet, different business. You know what I mean? So one time we crossed in the air. I was coming back from Thailand. She was going to China. Like just in the air. The same day I'm coming home, she's leaving.
Yeah.
So, but when we decided it's crazy. I was never going to get married. I wasn't going to have any kids because why would you bring some kids in this ridiculous life? Because my life was ridiculous and shitty. So I didn't want to do this to anybody else. That was really, I said that my whole life. I'm not getting married. I'm not having kids. It's stupid. And all of a sudden I meet the girl. Now I want to get married. And then there's two kids coming. Now there was a download that I got. I knew there was two kids, and I was completely happy about this. It was me getting healthier and really kind of really falling into me, like awakened and healthy. So when we decided to start a family, this is when phase two kicked in because I was not going to be in Europe. I was going to be in China, Japan, whatever, and
Yeah.
and have her raise the kids alone. I mean, that was that's the thing my dad did. That's what I was not going to do, right?
Yeah.
So this is when I decided I quit. I told my agent that I'm not leaving town any longer. If the work's not in Los Angeles, I don't want it. I'm not traveling anymore. Right. And she's like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "No, I'm living my life." And so this is when I opened the car shop, and I did it great, dude. I ended up, the shop was 6 minutes from my house, bought a house, my in Los Angeles, and the shop was 6 minutes from the house, and the kids' school was 2 blocks away. So by design, my wife and I were at all the recitals, all the parades, all the Christmas, like whatever. Like both of us, not just her, both of us, and that was the way I wanted it. I wanted to be present. I want to be there. I want to be part of their lives. I wanted it. So all this stuff I didn't have, right? And so, because I remember, for my, even as a kid, like when it was a recital or a parade or whatever, like there was always 2 seats empty. It was my parents. Like,
Uh,
everybody's parents is there, but these two, like, that was not going to have that. So that's how that started. Phase two. I love cars. I restore cars. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm local. The house. So it was allowed me all kinds of goodies and to be grounded as opposed to be in the air all the time, which I sounds really glamorous, but after a while it gets really old.
it's just
So that was phase two. That was phase two.
but you are in a sense like by doing this because you're doing the opposite of what your parents did because that
Yep.
I think that is the same
Guaranteed.
for me because I
Yep.
told my wife when I told her that I would always tell the kids before going to sleep at night I love you,
Yep.
and always before I said goodbye to them in the morning I love you,
Mm.
because I, in a sense, never knew. Like I knew that my father and mother they loved me, but they were of this generation which, like, they didn't
They
say
didn't
it
just right. Right.
because that was mushi mushi or whatever you used.
Right.
So
Pointless.
so
Yep.
yeah, and so you cut the ties. You break the cycle. You
Yep.
do something
Yep.
else because you
Yep.
don't want you to. So phase three in your because you launched Project how do you say it?
Equinox. Product
So
Equinox.
is that French or is it?
No, I don't know what the source of the word, but the equinox is the perfect balance between day and night. It's not dark enough to be dark.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
light
yeah,
enough
yeah,
to be
yeah,
light.
yeah.
So the balance of light and day, I at night. So I thought human
Well,
being, the balance in a relationship, men and women. So I thought it was clever.
I just didn't want to ruin that name
Equinox.
as
Equinox.
well.
This
Yeah,
Equinox.
Equinox. So, but
There.
that must lead us to like this topic:
Yeah.
understanding gender intelligence, building stronger relationships through better communication. Because
Boom.
now you are established, you have a beautiful wife. In your own
Yep.
opinion, I haven't seen her yet, so like you
Beautiful.
have to you
Every
have to
inside
dazzle.
and out. Inside
Yeah,
and out.
you have to dazzle me. I know when I see the picture. And then you have, what do you say? Do you have 2 kids or 3 kids?
Two.
Two, yeah.
Yep. Boy
So
and a girl.
and then what happens? Like where now we must be like we have you had 4 pivotal moments
Yeah.
in your life.
Yes.
So
Well,
are
so
we in?
number two, a pivotal moment was meeting my wife in class. That was just changed my life
Yeah,
in a moment, right? But that
yeah,
became so kicked in a few years later, the phase two of my life. So again, you have to remember this entire time, I never stopped personal development. You know, like personal development workshop, personal trying to get every aspect of my life in place because I didn't have any guidance. And
yeah,
when I was dancing for living, it's in through personal development that I got to Michael Jackson, and that started a whole other thing, right? But that was all constantly, you know, being in tune and but even financially, with like the money workshops, business workshop, personal like so. I was always doing this. So in 2006, now I have the business, I have the house, I have the shop, right? I have the kids, I have everything in place. We're living the life in Los Angeles, but I'm still doing personal development because there's always something to learn, and my brain loves to learn. So that my friends used to think it was so weird. I mean, I was doing this before it was cool. They go, "Let's go to the beach." I go, I'm in a workshop this weekend. Like I can't go, and they're like, "God, you're so weird." I'm like, "No, you go have fun on the beach. I'll be learning some stuff." Like to me, that was
yeah.
always an investment in my life, but it was before people even did that very much. It was weird. Transformational work was weird. So I'm like, whatever. So 2006. So like I said, constantly learning, constantly challenging, constantly. 2006. I signed up for a workshop, a 3D workshop up north, Northern California, because I had taken my business as far as I could with my knowledge. So I wanted to blow the ceiling up,
Yeah, yeah,
go take a workshop, right?
yeah.
3D
Of course.
workshop, all the tools. So it's so me. It's so me. On the flight back to Los Angeles, and this pivotal moment number three, if that did not happen, I would not be here today with you. On the plane, 200 people on the plane. There's like three seats kind of thing, right? On
Yeah,
the setting. So I end up sitting with a couple that I met in the workshop. And I remember thinking, out of 200 people, it's funny that we're sitting together. Like,
yeah,
right? Coincidence. And that's when I thought life was random. That was the last time that I thought life was random. The woman says to me in the flight, she goes, "What are you doing next weekend?" I go, "Next weekend I'm free. Why?" She goes, "You want to come to a workshop? It's on me." I'm like, "Absolutely." Because that's my life. That's my brain. That's, you're going to offer me something free. I'm going to learn something. I'm a yes, right? And then I asked, "What's it about?" Because I'm like that. And she's like, "Oh, it's called Understanding Women."
it's understanding
Wait,
women.
wait, what? Right. Now, funny, seriously, that was the call.
Yeah.
So when I tell that stories, I know you laugh your head off. But I tell that story to my friends, like, "Dude, there's no such thing. They don't even know themselves. Never mind us trying to learn about them, right?" Like, it's always the first reaction.
Well,
And
yeah, because you present like you are so macho, like looking and like the hair, and you're like you are just like, "Whirr," and then all of a sudden you just like, yeah, it's about the women, and you're just like, what? What's happening? My
well,
brain just
so
like my
so
brain melted.
my reaction was not like my friends. Like, there's no such thing. You can't understand them. They don't know themselves. Because of I'm an artist. I don't know why. I now know what it was, but I never knew what it was because I didn't do the madness my friends did. I didn't do the screaming, the yelling, and I never.
Yeah,
Did,
yeah, yeah.
I always attracted very sweet women. Always. So I had an ease somehow. Like, I thought it was me because I'm artistic, whatever. But you meet my wife, you go, "Oh wow." Like, oh damn, no kidding. Right? Just lovely, feminine, sweet, kind, like all the that's always what I attracted. So now I'm thinking, okay, so I'm gonna spend a weekend in the damn workshop understanding women. I got this. Like, I don't need this, right? Like, this is, and again, this is my weekend. This is the time to have off. I'm working all week.
Yeah.
Ugh. So that's when I went in where I went in there more like kind of backwards, thinking it's gonna be cute. Anyway, so I walked in the workshop Saturday morning. Didn't want to go because I could have slept in, but I'm driving to LAX, right? The airport, one of the big hotels. Okay, whatever. I said I was going to go, so I'm going. I keep my word. I'm that
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Thought it was going to be cute. Walked into space, 400 people in the room. Oh, and then instantly the vibe. Talk about vibe, and me, my vibe feeling, antenna body type of thing, went into, oh shit. There's nothing cute here. This is serious. Something is important here. That's all I can remember. Sat down. Now you have my attention. And all I could tell you is over the course of the workshop, at the end, my brain was all over the walls. My brain exploded. I could not I slipped off of my chair about 7 times that day. Like, slipped off of my chair with the
Yeah,
things that they
yeah,
were
yeah.
teaching us about women that we can conceive coming from a male brain. It was incredible. It was insane. You want to ask me something?
But yeah, because when you say there were 400 people, so was it 400 guys, or was it like, because what
With you. Well,
because my first thought was, oh, 399 women and then Andre, like
that's what I thought, right? But
yeah,
no, but actually, I thought it was gonna be all men because if you had a workshop called Understanding Men, there would be not one dude in there. It would be all women,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So understanding women, I'm thinking, what are the girls doing here? What are the girls doing here? But there was like 2/3 of the crowd was girls. Interesting. And what
yeah,
they did is they surrounded us with girls. They surrounded us with women, front, back, side, left, right? Because through the workshop, when she dropped one of these bombs, and I came off my chair and I picked myself back up, and she's the workshop leader would say, "Just so you don't think it's me who's crazy woman up front, take 5 minutes and check with the women around you." Brilliant, really brilliant, right? Like confirm what you just learned, or let women confirm it as that this is how they think, that's how they experience it, this is why they react this, whatever. And I remember there was a 19-year-old on my left, there was a 30-year-old on my right, front and back. I always started with a 19-year-old, and with like this thing, I picked myself up off the floor with what I just learned, and I'd look at her and go, "No," she says, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's crazy." Yeah, we feel we're crazy sometimes, but that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, we don't make sense. We don't make sense sometimes. It's hard for us to like and kind of confirm. Like anyway, so 717 of these big moments. What happened to me, and again, this is a pivotal time. That workshop changed everything because at the time I'm married with two little kids. We have a toddler, a 2-year old, and a 4-year old, I believe at the time. We've been together 8 years. Right, life is good. I'm not looking for this. We're not, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
everything's
yeah, yeah.
fine. And then I tripped on this shit. Excuse my French. And I realized I know nothing about women, which was a because I'm the guy who has no problem with the girls, right? So I knew nothing about women, like really the way they operate, why they take everything personally. There's a reason why they take everything personally. It's not because they're crazy, like sort of the mechanic of
Yeah, yeah.
the operating system and their instinct. So I realized I knew nothing about women, which meant I knew nothing about my wife. Oh shit. Like to me, that was a liability, right? All my brothers and sisters are divorced twice and three times. I have my baby, I have my family, I have my angel. Like I'm not going to be, a statistic because I didn't know, right? And my brain, that wants to know everything, went crazy. So that's how this thing started. So I ended up taking all their workshops, everything they had available. And I think they had 11 workshops at the time. I took all of them, paid the money, and wanted to. I didn't want to be statistic. I was doing this for us, for my family. Um, After you do the workshops, you could always come back as you could assist. You could be in the space. You could be in the room for free, right? You could support the system. So I was in every freaking weekend. I was in a workshop because they had many going at the same times. Orange County, Los Angeles County, right? Like so, I was bouncing around every weekend. Wanting to be in the space. Even the same workshops, the teachers. Every teacher would teach us differently. The questions would come up different. Like there was so much to learn, even if we're talking about the same thing, but it's never really talking about the same thing, right? The dynamic between men and women, and understanding women, understanding men on the flip side. So the more I learned, the more I realized I didn't know anything. The more I learned, the more I realized there was more to learn, right? So, and my brain just lost it. Like that's all I did for years. So after that workshop, after that round with these people, it was a couple of years. I became on track as a workshop leader for them because I'm a teacher, right? So that's a no-brainer. Just change the topic, and
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
that didn't turn out. But this is when I continue. Yeah, there was too much politics in the company, so they wasn't interested in the drama of behind the scene. So
Yeah.
I moved on, but then that's how I started studying with Dr. John Gray, Mars and Venus. Esther Perel, which is a French therapist in New York City, who does all about intimacy and why people cheat and why people don't cheat and fascinating. Like her body of work is crazy. John Gray was all about the chemistry of our bodies and our brains that makes us behave right. Shanti Felhan is about love and respect down the South because we both need love and respect, but they occur backwards for each other. Like people, like so. And then ultimately at the end of I'm standing on the shoulders of 5 masters in the field. I just wanted to eat it all up. The last piece of it that kind of put all of it together because we have chemistry, anthropology, right, psychology, nature. So my fifth mentor, Dr. Pat Allen here in Los Angeles. She's a family child marriage therapist for 46 years at the time. Um, I ended up she had a private school. I ended up spending 3.5 years with this woman in a room on the weekend with 3 or 4 other students, privately learning everything that she learned in her career with the relationship dynamics, with raising children, and marriage dynamics. So she kind of put all of that together for me per her information, and that's when this whole thing became like the organically, 2006 started the system. By 2009, I started Project Equinox, and I'm still learning. I'm still in class. I'm still, Dr. Pat is actually part of that whole era. And then that's how it all started. I wanted to teach this to the world. And it's now my God mission is to you know alleviate the confusion and the pain between men and women. By the way, men, women and women is all the same. It's not a gender thing. It's the people who succeed in a relationship long term, regardless of their gender or their orientation, all do the same thing. Ha! Well, that's some shit, right? So, and that became the go-to. That became the go-to. Like, we know how to do this. We watch and study and research and interview people who are successful in this realm. What did they do? And again, regardless of the setting, the setup, the one who succeed all do the same thing, and they seem to have it naturally. It's a very small percentage of people, by the way. The rest of us have to learn because we want the other one to be like us, and we like point the finger, and right. So that's how this whole thing kicked in. A trip up north, a moment on a plane, and this whole new channel opened, and they started this. And again, helping people, right? Being in touch with people, wanting to be, feeling people. So so that's all I do now. I ended up selling the car business. I tried to keep both for years because I thought I wanted to keep the car business as a ATM machine, right? It's just you could have a business and not be part of it. Not that business, impossible. So for 5 years, I did both. They both grew, almost killed me, to the point where I had to sell it. There was no other way to survive this, so I could spend all my time doing this, and that's the story.
But because now I'm thinking, because me and my wife, we have been together for 39 years.
You win.
Thank you. And and the fact is that I'm only 29. I can't understand that.
That's amazing.
But she is totally opposite me. I'm not sporty. She is sporty. She was part of a successful soccer team here in Iceland, women's soccer team.
Yep.
Won titles, and she was like, this is my go-to story, that badminton or ping pong or whatever. She just like, what's this? Oh, badminton. Okay. And then she was the best, and I just like, I literally, like, why do I live with you? And then in our relationship, like, of course we had our differences, but her biggest problem, as she says, is that she didn't speak out, whereas she has started to grow that in her.
Right.
But when in 2001, she is a phys ed educator.
Yep.
Or teacher, and I am social educator. So when we got our twins in 2001,
two.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, you win again. You win again.
Yeah, thank you. but and then we have one of each, and the kids, they are like, even though they can be like this, like they are so good together and they are so like perfect, but she is
completely different than him.
Oh yes, and when my wife started to say, like, don't go into your room, no, you will speak out, no, don't, and I was just like, okay, relax. But he just entered his cave, and then 3 days later, like, and you could see that he was pouchy. Then he came out, and he was just like, and then my wife said, well, he has solved the problem, but he didn't. But we asked, like, can we help you? Can we help?
Yep.
No. So, like, he had to just go through it in his head. Because in recent, like last year, you had a choice between a man or a woman president, and there was so much said about the woman that she would not handle it, and yada yada yada. And if we say that the only difference is the phys ed, like, because the brains are not, like, we still have brains.
Completely different.
But we think, like, we see solutions differently.
Absolutely.
Whereas,
so we keep thinking. Go ahead.
No, I was just because the ladies, my daughter, she's a criminologist, and she said, like, do you know why? Or we were talking, like fabulating about why boys kill more or do stuff, stupid things, and the ladies they don't, because the ladies they have something in them that say, like, if I do, like, they are going, but then no, yes, if I do this, there are some consequences. Whereas we are like, shoot first, ask later.
Well, it's called testosterone versus estrogen. It's a different way of operating. We're
Yeah,
warriors.
yeah,
We're warriors at heart. We're fighters. If you're trying to
yeah,
take my wife, if you're trying to take my family, if you're trying to hurt, I'll kill you. I'll actually kill you.
yeah,
Right now, if you're a broken man, you will kill for no reason, and you'll steal for no
yeah,
reason. That's different. But their chemistry, our chemistry, testosterone is big. Testosterone is big. It's huge. It's wild. It's crazy. It's energy. Estrogen is soothing, calming, connecting, nurturing. So we have two different machines. So what happens? We tend to be more logical. They tend to be more emotional. I get it. So, but the problem is we fight each other because the culture says we're the same, we're equals, we're the same, we're equals, the same, we're equals. Well, equal rights, equal pay, yeah, fine. But now it's like men should be more like women, and women have to be more like men, and this is where everything goes to hell. This is my
yeah,
work. My work comes in when we're going against nature. Nature goes, ha ha, and you pay, and people suffer. And what's happening in the world right now is everyone's confused. It should be easier. It should be better. We equalize the playing field. We soften the man, actually shame them out of being masculine, and empower women. Go girl, boss babe, which is masculine as hell. And we think this should work. It should work, right? We finally have open all the channels. It doesn't work in love. It's good for
yeah.
money and business, but in the matter of relationship, it's the kiss of death. This is this is what's not working, and nobody understands it should work. What's the problem? And it doesn't. So that's the world. That's my mission, is to really kind of bring understanding about men and women are completely different, not the same, even a little bit. Whereas equals are genitals, right?
Uh,
Completely opposite, but made to fit. So temperamentally, we're made to fit. We complement each other. My strengths and her strengths are different, but together,
yeah,
family. So that's nature. Everything I teach is not my opinion. It's nature, science, psychology, anthropology, right? It's just so it's we know how these things work best, and what's in a culture does not work. It's a kiss
but
of death.
yeah, but why is it? Why do you think that? Okay, when you do, you do couple therapy, or how do you do this?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I do.
yeah. So
Any,
when you
yeah,
get these guys who are like, because again, we are the product of our parents also.
absolutely. That's the first
So
thing. That's the
yes,
first. That's where we start.
and they teach us some stupid things.
Per right, just per their behavior, right?
Yes,
You don't have to say it. You get it just watching them.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You are 50% of each, and then
Right.
like you break it down. But how is it that you can do this when you're having a couple who are having problems and they don't
Yep.
understand each other?
They don't.
Like, because
They don't.
as the title is, understanding gender intelligence.
Yep.
So how do you work with them, and for how long of a period? When
So yeah,
when you see the light bulb by either of them go just like kabam, and you
it's
are
so
just
good.
like
It's so
ding,
good. It's so
you
good.
are there.
It's so good. All right, just so you know, we have like 3 minutes because I have another client. So I want to wrap it up, and I have a gift for you listeners that I want to share with you. So we
Oh
have to have a little space for that.
yeah,
Um, but really quickly, so couples therapy, which is very popular, especially here, maybe I don't know, but it's very popular here, and it's a sure way to get divorced. Couples therapy is a sure way to get divorced because you sit in the room together and point the finger at each other. He always, he never. She's crazy. She doesn't make sense. She's not as. She doesn't get me right, and it goes to hell. It goes to hell.
yeah,
There's a lot of data on this, by the way. It's not my opinion, and some of my own clients are like, yeah, that we went to couples therapy, almost finished us off. I'm a coach, so we do it differently. The business model is different. The teaching, the understanding is different. In the APA, the American Psychological Association, the training is always feminine. So whatever she wants is the right way. Whatever he wants is needs to be adjusted, right? So it's a shit show. It's a really shit show. That
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
work.
yeah,
So what I do with my couple is I work with them separately, and so we figure out what she's unhappy with, right, and not understand. and I teach her about gender intelligence, how men function, why, what motivates us, what makes us do what we do, why, psychologically, chemically, like there's a whole. So when they understand he's not being a jerk, he's just a man, and then how do you manage that? Then I give him tools to be able to ask for adjustment, because that's really the dance is we're completely apart, but how do we get together, right? His way, her way, and the sweet spot. So I teach them the tools so that behind the scene, not with me, not together, when she learns what's not working, why it's not working, she could kind of go, okay, I see that. So try this and see what happens. He responds, "Oh, win!" Right?
Yeah.
Because he's built like this, because of this, because when you approach him in the thing that makes sense to his brain, to his body, right? Respectfully, he will respectfully, lovingly respond back. So when you understand each other's instinct and operating system, right? That's what I do. So and for him, same thing. So we session with her, session with him, session with her, session with him. Give him all the homework. They do it together, and they report back separately. So it's fantastic because that's not pointing the finger, and they get to do it themselves, understanding like you don't even have you don't have to even work on both, which is fantastic, which is interesting. As long as a woman learns about gender intelligence and realize what a man's instinct, what he's compelled to, why he needs respect. He commands respect. He will demand respect. Otherwise, he walks away. When you understand all the mechanism and the instinct, you just have to do it, and you get everything you want. He'll provide, protect, cherish, support, love. Like he just won't stop.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
instinctively, right? You don't have to manipulate him. That's what we're wired for.
Yeah.
So as long as women learn about men, they actually could pull them into getting everything they want naturally, right? And same vice versa. I had guys come to me with, my wife used to be sweet and lovely, and now she hates me. I come home, she rolls her eyes and says, "Oh, it's you." And I'm like, what? He goes, "What happened?" Right? And they go, "I know what happened. You don't talk to her. You take it for granted. You expect her to do
Yeah.
what she does without thanking her. You probably don't talk to her enough, so she feels abandoned, disconnected, and you don't like her, love her. Like that's what's happening." What? I mean, that's what's happening. I work all day and I come home and I just want some peace. Yeah, but that she needs something else. So I teach men about women, what they need to
Yeah.
feel safe and connected, and right, a little attention, a little conversation, a little paying attention, right, constantly, a little bit. They don't need that much, but they
Yeah.
need it a
No.
little
No.
bit
No.
they need it constantly. So the moment men, learn these little things that are seemingly small to us that don't really matter, like they see that the woman relaxes, she feels safe, she's happy, she's connected, and like her whole behavior changes, and she's only responding to the fact that she feels safe with him. Do you know what I mean? So my
Yeah.
favorite thing is that guy after he did the program, she didn't know, right? But he changed, he tuned in, understanding how she functions, how she operates. And he goes, now she meets me at the door when I come home from work, and sometimes with a glass of wine. I have my wife back. I'm like, good for you, dude. That's the point. So that's the work, right? It's not about equality. It's about actually complementary. We're
Yeah.
completely freaking different. And how do we dance together? And those are the tools that I teach. And it's, again, my strengths are different than my wife's strengths and vice versa. So we don't try to change the other. We come together. People who succeed in relationships, boys and girls, everybody, right, have each other's back
So
first.
now, because time is
Yes,
of the
yes,
essence,
yes, sir.
underneath us is your website, Project Equinos dot
Dot net.
n no, dot net. Yes.
Dot net.
And
Yes.
what do you have for us?
All right, so I do, like I said, my God mission is to spread this to the masses, right, and really change the cultural pace about men are not toxic, women are not crazy. It's just we're different, and we have to understand and learn how different that is, and then gender intelligence. Now we can create healthy, flowing relationships. So, like we learned that people who do it, they know. Anyway, so as I'm doing podcasts, I do like 3 or 4 a week, sometimes more, because I'm trying to spread the hope. There's hope out there. This is possible. We
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
relationship, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that the culture is teaching you exact opposite of what works, and
Yeah.
we don't know that. Anyway, so I notice when I do podcasts, there's two type listeners. So I have two different gifts, and I'm gonna send you directly to my email. If you go to Andre Coaching, the number one, at gmail.com, ANDRE coaching, COACHING, number one, at Gmail. And in the subject box, this is for the ladies, it's the first gift for information seekers, I want to call them. I will send you a copy of my book. It's a 30, I sell on my website. It's called Five Feminine Qualities High Value Men Find Absolutely Irresistible. This is information. This is a workbook, about 30 pages. You get to fill it out, right? There's homework to do, and it's a workbook. This is me with my work with
I-
men, and this is man speaking, ladies. This is what
is what
man find irresistible. I sell this on my website. If you email me, I'll send you a digital copy. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's a gift. My gift to information seekers. My
is
second
it
gift. Go ahead.
is it correct? Andre Coaching at gmail.com. What is
Andre
missing there?
Coaching. Andre Coaching. The number one at gmail.com.
So number one. Do you
Yeah.
have the? Okay, I will just do it
Andre
like
Coaching one. Just put a one after
one.
coaching.
Yes.
There you go. That's me. If that's my personal box. So if you want the book, you just write irresistible book in the subject matter. You could ask me a question. You get, whatever. It's just, but if you want the book, just put it in the title. The other type listeners that I notice, and this is gift number two, they get to qualify themselves for whichever, is people who are more curious. Like I said something, they heard something that resonated. They're curious about what I do. They're curious about trying to understanding their troubles. And right, typically people come to me when they're stuck in the loop. Same relationship, right? Same, different guy, same result, different girl, same result. And you realize
Yeah.
it's you. It's not them. It's not all men. It's not women. It's you. Again, childhood trauma, parenting, all that jazz, right? So if you're somebody who's a little bit more courageous and want to step in, right? Andre Coaching One at Gmail, and the subject box, just write talk now. Talk now. And I'll send you a copy of my calendar, a link to my calendar. You could book a call. We'll have a one-on-one. It's on me. It's a gift. And we'll talk about where you stuck. In 15 minutes, we'll go right to it in childhood. That's what I do all day long. It's very simple. And then realizing, because a lot of people come at me with, something wrong with me, I'm broken. I'm like, no, you're a product of your past. Let's figure out what happened, where the wheels came off. There it is. Always 5 years old, by the way. Always 5 years old or so. Now, when you understand that you're not broken, you're just a product of your past, then it's fixable, because that's part of the work, right? I do trauma release work, so we get that off of you, so you can actually be present and think for yourself. And then, so what's the dream? So, Andre Coaching One, talk now. We'll have a conversation. This is who I am. It's not stressful. There's no pressure. And on the other side, we'll talk about things you could, if you want to get invested, with learning this stuff. There's all different programs. So if you want both gifts, ask for both gifts. Ask me a question. Tell me I'm full of crap. I'm not.
No, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. So, Andre,
yes, sir.
You blew my mind. You are absolutely fantastic. And I did not blow up your name.
No, you didn't.
That's one. But then again, we have two questions from Brad Bessie. Maybe you can on another point go into the visit LinkedIn, the hands-on coaching LinkedIn page and answer the question, because I felt like I couldn't stop the flow. It was just so sorry for that. But this has been brilliant, Andre. It's just unbelievable how discussions can be important and
inspiring and eye-opening, all that.
Yes, and thank you for just hooking up, like calling out, like it's just brilliant. So next time we will talking to Max Emma about bookkeeping. Would you believe that could be inspiring?
Okay.
Well, you never know. So
you learn something.
Well, you're always learning something in life. So just
that's my point.
Yes, lovely. Thank you very much, Andre.
Absolutely.
And it just has been a blast. So good luck with everything and stay in touch. Okay.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.